As I've gotten older, I have seen and felt the importance of maintaining a healthy, active lifestyle. Not only do you feel better in the present, but you prevent future health problems from messing with your quality of life. I truly believe enhancing your mind and body with proper fuel is essential to a healthy quality of life. That's why I'm so excited to talk with fitness coach Michael Williams today. Michael is a certified personal trainer who specializes in women's fat loss. And while there's so much more to being healthy than getting rid of body fat, a lot of the health and physical activity benefits will result in less fat. Michael and I are talking about the importance of prioritizing health for women, building healthier habits, and staying consistent with healthy living. So, as I mentioned, Michael is a personal trainer with over 13 years of experience in the fitness space. Michael is based out of Houston, Texas, and offers both in person and online fitness coaching and training. Through his online coaching, Michael focuses on building custom nutrition and training programs for a variety of clients. Hi, Michael. It is so great to connect with you. I know that we have been online friends for a long time, and it has been such a pleasure to just watch your fitness coaching journey grow to what it is today. So, I gave a very brief introduction, but can you share with myself and the listeners your background and what sparked your career in fitness?
All right. Well, thank you for having me on your podcast. My name is Michael Williams, Coach Mike. A lot of people call me. I'm out of Houston, Texas, North Houston, the Woodlands, Texas. And what really sparked my interest in fitness and becoming a trainer, it started with myself. I played college basketball, and I ended up tearing both of my ACLs. And it was very depressing. You know, basketball was my life, and I gained a lot of weight because I had to stay in the bed and rest. And I said, enough is enough. And I decided to, look up workouts like basketball training. You're working on the court, not really inside the gym.
Hmm.
Um, I said, you know what? Let me just get a pair of dumbbells. And I started downstairs and I was just working. And I started losing a lot of weight and I started researching nutrition. And I tell you, I lost probably 25 pounds in a month. I was eating
Whoa.
a lot of fish, a lot of broccoli, a lot of rice, sweet potatoes. And I started to share my journey, and people were seeing it, and they're like, "How are you doing this? Like, man, you're ripped. How'd you do it? How'd you do it?" And I was like, "Just these workouts." And then they started coming over, and then at one point, I was training this lady, and she lost like 40 pounds. She was like my first client without me knowing, and I was like, "I love this. I can get paid to do this." And I was like, I like this in marketing. I majored in marketing, so that's why I'm always on social media marketing. And yeah, I was like, let me start doing this. And I trained women and men.
Okay.
And I started off as a basketball trainer, but I didn't have the passion for it anymore. And I decided to say, you know what, I'm gonna do strength training. And it took off from there, and we're here today.
Wow. So did you have like the actual idea to get into this? Because it sounds like, you were feeling a little bit upset after your injury. And although sick and tired of being sick and tired, you did something about it. But when you kind of got yourself together mentally, did you foresee yourself doing this full time?
Not at all. I thought I was going to the NBA. I was like,
Okay.
I'm going to the NBA.
So was that your driving factor? Like, even though you were injured, were you still kind of convinced that I can like improve my body and get to where I want to go?
Exactly. So, I always ask people like, "What's your why?"
Hmm.
And my why was my mom. I wanted to pay off her house. I wanted to give her a great life, and I was like, "I'm going to the league." And so, I was like working super hard. Like I didn't get tired, and that's why I asked people, "What's their why?" And yeah, it just basically took off from there. But I did not know I'd be doing this. If you told me, "Hey, you're gonna be a personal trainer one day and change lives," I'd be like, "Nah, I'm going to the NBA." But it turned out great because that actually showed me what I'm capable of, and it gave me a great mindset. Um, and pushing past my limits and all that good stuff. So yeah, it worked out. It all worked out.
Yeah, I have a similar situation. I mean, not exact. I was living in LA, before my financial coaching business like was even a thought in my mind. And, I really didn't have intentions of starting this type of business, but I actually lost my dad unexpectedly. And so I moved back to Austin, Texas. But before I had done that, I was already kind of getting my finances in order and moving back home, moving back in with mom, like I was able to expedite a lot of the work I was doing financially. And I realized if I could do it, other women could too. And that's how my business started. So we're kind of similar in that we had some kind of tragic situations turn into triumphant scenarios for us. So that's kind of nice.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I am not sure if you know this. I know we're friends online, but I actually lost my mom in 2023 to COPD, and I saw the toll that the disease took on her body. Like she could barely walk without like losing her breath. And, I was already health conscious before then, but seeing her that way really made me put health as like a top priority in my life. So, I would love to hear your opinion on how important healthy living is to preventing illnesses and pain in the future.
For sure. Um, as you know, I recently lost my mother.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
oh, it's okay. It's okay. We found out that she had a heart attack. And, growing up, I didn't really realize like how important health was. My mom her love language was feeding me.
Mm,
And when I got older, I started working out and I'm like, Mom, we can't eat like this anymore. You can get sick. We have to exercise. And she was a nurse. So she knew this. She knew, exercise and nutrition was important. Um, and so, but to answer your question though, working out and nutrition is super important, especially when you're younger. Don't wait till you're in your 70s to start. It starts now. I don't care if you're 50, it starts now. You don't have to do a lot. You can just walk, focus on moderation. I'm not saying you can't have a burger every once in a while, but focus on moderation and movement. I always tell people that. You don't have to be in the gym 7 days a week. Just focus on that. Um, but starting now and thinking long term, it's super important. Strength training is super important, especially as you get older. We're gonna get tired. I don't know about you. I'm 34, and I'm like, I'm exhausted. Like,
yeah.
I can only imagine, being 50. I'm like, I'm not gonna want to be in the gym 6, 7 days a week.
Right.
Uh, so starting out while you have the energy, the time, is super important.
So is it really like building that routine, really making it a lifestyle now while, you're the youngest you ever will be, and really just taking that with you, into later years in life, but maybe on like a moderated scale, right? So from what you're saying, it sounds like you don't always have to like go hard, for the rest of your life, but that habit and routine does need to be there. Is that pretty accurate?
That's for sure. Facts.
Yeah.
You nailed it. You nailed
Yeah.
it. It starts now. Don't wait. Don't
Yeah.
wait.
Again, seeing my mom like really open my eyes to that, but I feel like it's so easy for people to just kind of focus on the now, right? Like, oh my gosh, me being 70 or 60, like that's so far away. I don't even need to worry about it. But the things that we put in our body and how we move our body and what we do to our body now will have a direct impact on us in the future. So we really do need to think about it right now in the present.
Exactly. And health issues, it doesn't discriminate.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're 35 or 50. It happens to everyone. So your health should be your number one priority right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think, obviously my community, we're very focused on building financial wealth. But I say to my clients who like contemplate, investing in a trainer, like, getting rid of the gym, health is wealth,
Yes.
what does all this money mean if you can't even enjoy it because you're so unhealthy or you're sick or you're in pain chronically. So health is wealth.
It's like I always tell people it's pay now or pay later.
Oof, yeah.
Which one do you want? I'd rather pay the price now than later because we're all, people who have kids, if you want grandchildren, you want to be able to play with them, have a good quality of life, be able
Right.
to go to the store by yourself, get out of the house and just walk. So,
Definitely.
yeah. And it's also another thing. I don't know about you, but for me, I don't want to be a burden
Mm.
on my kid.
Oof.
He's going to have a family and, um, I don't want to be like, well, I got to go get dad because dad can't walk and you don't want that. That's
Right.
another stressor your kid has to have. So take care of yourself.
That is such a good point. And, I don't think people think about it that way, especially if people don't have kids yet. But, although my mom had a terminal illness, she had everything kind of set up to make sure that, she was taking care of the best she could. There were no financial issues, like other than my brother and I having to just witness the entire process. Like she made everything as easy as she possibly could for us. And what a blessing. And I know that's not the case for everyone, but I think it's important for people to think like that because that could impact, their kids or your kids in the future.
Big time. Big
Yeah.
time. I totally agree.
Yeah. So, if I'm not mistaken, you specialize in women's fat loss.
I
So,
do.
I would love to hear you talk about this because obviously women's fat loss differs than men's, right? So I want to, hear your thoughts on that. And I would love to hear your thoughts on what women need to be mindful of when they are looking to lose body fat.
Okay. So I would say the difference between men and women when it comes to fat loss is that women have more estrogen, as we know. Men have a lot of testosterone. So it's a lot easier to lose weight when you have a lot of testosterone. I mean, a
Okay.
guy can stop drinking Coke and he can lose 10 pounds in a week. But for women, it doesn't happen that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Seen it with my brother and my fiance firsthand. Yep.
Exactly, exactly. But women, they have more fat because y'all carry babies.
Hmm.
Okay. And hormones play a part. So there's so many factors when it comes to between men and women when it comes to weight loss. Now, a couple of things women need to focus on is protein. Protein, protein, protein. So I always tell people, let's say you're 160 pounds and you want to be 130 pounds. You should focus on eating 130 grams of protein every single day.
Whoa.
I,
Okay. Okay.
it sounds like a lot. No, that's
Yeah.
that's the reaction I get. They're like, no, I cannot eat that. And I
Yeah.
understand. But let's at least get to 100,
Okay.
and then as you're working out and building muscle, your body's gonna be like, "Hey, feed me,"
Mm.
because you have
Okay.
to get your metabolism back. Because a lot of women eat only one, maybe two meals a day,
Hmm.
and they're hurting their metabolism. So you want to lift the weights, right?
Okay.
You want to focus on protein and drink a lot of water.
Okay.
But protein is the key to everything, fat loss.
Okay. So what are some like easy go-tos for women to up their protein intake? Because it's not easy.
It's not. And like your podcast is always, I mean, it's about routine and structure. And you have to plan. I always tell people, be a planner. When you're trying to jump into a weight loss program,
Hmm.
plan it out. Don't just wake up in the morning and say, what am I going to eat today? You should
Mm.
already know. You should
Yeah.
already have it all meal prepped. You know how many grams is in this container, this one, and it works out. So go-to meals, I would say protein shakes. And I like to keep it simple. You have what? Ground beef, ground turkey, chicken, steak. What else? What else do we have? Um, those are the five print. Yeah, those right there. Those
Okay.
are perfect. So don't think about, oh, does this have enough protein? Focus on those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you mentioned obviously meal prepping, and then I'm assuming to, confirm someone gets 130 grams of protein or 100 grams of protein, they actually have to track what they're eating. Are there any tracking apps or mechanisms you recommend for this?
Yeah, you have MyFitnessPal, Macros Plus,
Okay.
and tracking's not for everybody because they're
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't want to track. But sometimes you have to know how much you're putting into your body.
Mm,
If you're just starting out, I would say, okay, let's try to eat 3 meals a day. Each meal needs protein, carbs, and vegetables.
okay.
If you can do that, you had a successful day. And
Okay.
let's do that. Let's do that for 7 days and see
Okay.
how you. Then we'll start getting into the tracking.
Okay.
That's how I like to
Okay.
do it.
I
Yeah.
like that because you ease into it, right? Me personally, we kind of talked about this. I'm a Virgo, so I'm very structured, very routine, very organized. I like tracking.
Okay.
So, I actually use my Fitness Pal myself. And, when I use it, I just feel more aware of what I'm consuming. And then when I don't use it, I feel like I probably knew I was eating things I shouldn't have eaten, and
Yeah.
that's why I didn't track.
Gotcha. And you start to notice like once you track for a long period of time, you kind of know your body and how much you're eating. You're like, yeah, that's enough.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the best thing. Knowing your body and how much to eat is the best because you're not overeating, you're not under eating. So yeah.
So this is interesting because, obviously there's so much diet advice out there. One that I kind of hear a lot is, as long as your calories in aren't more than your calories out, you'll lose weight. Do you agree with that? And, is that maybe a easy go-to that people can follow for consuming foods?
For sure, you definitely have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight.
Okay.
I like to put people at a maintenance,
Hmm.
where you're not low in calories, you're not over, you're right in the middle. But to answer your question, to lose weight, you must be in a caloric deficit.
Okay.
Okay, does
Okay.
that make sense?
That makes sense. So how would someone know if they're in a caloric deficit? I guess they would have to track, right?
They would have to track. That's it. Yeah,
Mhm.
they would have to track. So, how I do with my clients, I like you to track for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Eat how you normally eat. Don't try to go all healthy since we're training. You know, track your food for 2 weeks. Let's look at it. Okay, you eat 1,800 calories right now, and nothing has happened. Let's drop your calories to 1,700. Real small, nothing
Mhm.
crazy. And then watch how the weight just starts falling off little by little. One
Okay.
pound a week, 1 pound a week. A lot of people think they need to lose 5 pounds a week. It doesn't work like that.
Hmm.
1 pound
Okay.
a week is really hard because you have to burn 3,500 calories to burn 1 pound.
Ooh.
And think
Okay.
about that. A lot of people have Apple Watches, and when you look at your Apple Watch after a workout, you're like, "Wow, I burned 400 calories."
Yep.
Think about it. Now you have to burn 3,500 calories to lose 1 pound. So it's gonna take some time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I tell people to walk, walk, walk. Even if you lift, go on a little night walk after you eat and burn 100 calories. It's all going to add up in that week. And then when you jump on that scale that next Monday morning, oh, I lost a pound. And let's keep doing that every week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, kind of pulling the thread through on this a little bit. I wear an Apple Watch, so I think it helps me track my calories, that are going out, right? Like the calories that I'm burning. Is it accurate? Like, is it a good,
Hmm.
indicator?
It's close, but it's not super accurate. It's
Okay.
not accurate. And that's a big debate right now. It depends because someone can be going hard and like, wow, coach, I burned 2,000 calories. And I'm like, there's no way. There's no
Yeah.
way. I mean, you'd have to run marathon runners. I run a lot of marathons, and I'll burn maybe 1,800 calories in a marathon. That's 20.
Wow.
So if you tell me in this 1 hour workout that you burned 1,500 calories, no way. So,
Okay.
but Apple Watches are a good indicator. You know, if I put your meal plan, I want you to eat 1,800 calories, and you burned 500 calories in a workout. I mean, you're kind of in a deficit now.
Okay. What
So
would
yeah,
be like a better way of figuring out what you burn on a regular basis? Like, do you have something that you use with your clients, or like how can someone get that number? Because that number sounds pretty critical.
that's pretty tough. And like I said, like an Apple Watch is a good measure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I can give you an example of how I like to do it with my clients.
Okay.
So if you're on my 12-week program, I have you doing AM cardio, and I want you to burn around 300 calories.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't care how many steps you took or how long you're on the treadmill or Stairmaster. I just need you to burn 300 calories, and it usually takes around 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay. Okay. But
Okay.
if it takes longer, the goal is 300 regardless.
Yeah, but I say, hey, if it takes you like an hour or past that, just don't worry about it. Just after like 30, 40 minutes, get off.
Okay.
But I want you training at like an intensity. That's the thing. The more
Okay.
intense you are with something, the more calories you're gonna burn.
Okay.
Okay? Because if I have you walking and I have somebody running, they're probably gonna burn way more calories than you are.
Right.
Okay. And then you go throughout your day, and then when you have time in the evening to lift weights, that's what I want you to do. So
Okay.
AM cardio, lift weights in the evening. In the evening, you'll probably burn anywhere between, it really depends on your weight, your height, how intense the workout was. Probably another, let's say 300 calories. So in that one day, you burn 600 calories. And I like people to do in-body scans. Have you ever had an in-body scan?
No.
Okay. So an in-body scan, basically, it takes your body fat and it shows us your BMR.
Okay.
Basically, how many calories you burn without doing anything.
Okay.
So most people, the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn.
Okay.
So if we did your in-body and it said you burn 1,600 calories doing nothing, you could watch Netflix for 24 hours. You're gonna burn 1,600 calories, right?
Okay.
And then if I have your meal plan, let's say I want you to eat 1,500 calories.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a deficit because your BMR is 1,600, and you're burning. If you're working out,
Mm-hmm.
you're
You're
burning
burning
more calories.
more. Okay.
Exactly. So now you're in that deficit, and now that scale is going to start dropping and dropping. But it
Okay.
takes time. It takes time for your metabolism to realize what's going on, and then the weight's going to start falling off.
Okay. So then this question I'm going to ask is probably a silly one, but if I know my BMR, as long as I eat less than my BMR, am I going to lose weight? If I'm not physically active.
No, no, because a lot of people's BMRs are super, super low.
Okay.
Like if your BMR is 1,100, and you're like, well, Coach Mike said if I eat less than this, I'll lose weight. Let me eat 800 calories a day. You're going to be starving and you're going to
Oof.
hurt your metabolism.
Okay. Okay. That makes
Exactly.
sense. Okay.
So if you're a person who loves to eat, go to the gym and strength train and build a lot of muscle so you can increase that BMR. So if your BMR is 2,500,
Hmm.
oh, then I can eat 2,000 calories and still lose weight. Oh, I'm in. Let's do this.
Interesting. So then is building muscle how you increase your BMR?
Exactly. It's everything.
Okay.
Building, I would say if someone's just starting out and they're like, you know what, let me go do a lot of cardio. That's not the key. You want to
Mm,
strength train.
okay.
Strength training is everything.
Okay. Okay. And obviously that's because strength training, you're lifting weights, so therefore you're building muscle, whereas cardio, you're really just, getting your heart rate up, right?
Yeah, you're burning calories, but you're not building muscle. And
Okay.
like I said, muscle burns calories throughout the day. So if you have a desk job, and let's say
Mm-hmm.
you did a morning hit workout with some weights,
Mm-hmm.
you, while you're sitting in that desk for 8 hours, you're just burning calories,
Got it. Okay.
which is what you want. Yeah.
Okay, that's great to know. And, for someone who like maybe has never lifted a weight, or for the woman who maybe has a misconception that if she lifts weights, she's going to get super muscular, what would you say to someone like that? Like, how do they shift that mindset? And then what's a good way to actually get started with strength training?
I would say the best way to start with strength training um, is to get a professional.
Okay.
Is to hire a professional. Because they'll show you form is key, Because the last thing you want is to go into the gym and get injured. And you're like, I should have never strength trained. And you're gonna be scared to lift weights. Um, and like I said, a lot of women, or let me rephrase that, you don't have enough testosterone to build a lot of muscle to look like that manly, bulky look, which I get that a lot.
Ah,
Like,
okay.
coach, I don't want to look like a man. I'm like, I promise you, you will not look like a man. Look at all my clients. Do any of these women look like men? Okay. Um,
Well, that makes
so
sense because we don't have testosterone like that, right? And if testosterone is what really gives you that bulk, then it really makes sense that women wouldn't look like that.
exactly. And to women who do have that look, it took years of
Mm,
discipline and strength training to even look like that. And you're just starting off. So you're 4 weeks in the gym, you're not gonna look like that. Okay, that took
okay.
20 years to look like that. So no, it's just starting out. I would say to anyone just starting out, go to the gym. I would pick 5 machines to do and do 3 sets of 10 for each machine and do 20 minutes of cardio and head out.
Okay. Good
Hmm.
starting point. Okay.
For sure. Just to get that momentum, because a lot of people have gym anxiety.
Yeah.
Just getting to the gym is a chore,
Right.
and then you get there, it's 5 p.m., it's packed, and you're like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how I kind of started, because I didn't really know how to lift. I would look at people, I wouldn't like just stare at them, but I'd be like, oh, okay, that's how that machine works. And I wait till they get off.
Hmm.
I'm gonna do the exact same thing,
Okay.
with lightweight, and I'm just going up and down. Okay, this is how it works, and just
Okay.
build from there. Yeah, but
Okay.
hire a professional. Hire a professional.
Okay. Which, not everyone can afford that. But I really like that tip, just watching people using the machines, right? And just slowly kind of learning it yourself if you can't afford a professional. Obviously, a professional is going to fast track your knowledge.
For sure.
But there are options for anyone, which is nice.
And we also have, I mean, we're in 2025. YouTube is your friend.
Hmm.
YouTube University. That's what I like to call it. You get on there and you type in 30-minute. Okay, I have a pair of dumbbells, dumbbell workout. Follow that lady and just follow her. And I mean, it just goes from there. And then when you're done, when you phase out of that, say, you know what, I'm going to go to the gym now and start hitting the actual, machines and stuff. So as a beginner, I would start off on YouTube University, 30-minute workouts. If you only have 20 minutes, type in 20 minutes, 10 minutes. And it's a quick little workout. It shows you how to do it. And that's what I would do.
Okay. I think
Yeah,
that's great. Like there's options for everyone, no matter what your financial situation looks like, or even your time situation, right? I mean, like you said, you can find a quick workout that you can follow along to, and it doesn't have to be a long, drawn out process for someone.
it doesn't. It doesn't. Because a lot of people say, I don't have time to work out. Now, I used to say that was an excuse until I had kids. And I was like, I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. You don't have time. So now I have to wake up a little earlier,
Hmm.
you know, for myself. That's my motivation. When I'm tired and my alarm goes off, I'm like, I don't want to work out. But I go back to your question, my kids need me to
Yeah.
be healthy. And I like get up.
That's your
You know,
why. Yeah.
that's my why.
That's your
Like I
why.
said, you need that why.
Hmm.
If I said, "Hey, I'll give you $1 million at the end of the year if you work out 5 days a week for 1 year," you that'd be your why.
That's it.
You, that's it. Hey, I'm in there. I do it. So yeah, you have to have that why.
But, I think too, like we talked about earlier, it's so easy to kind of just focus on the present and not think about what your life is going to look like, 10, 20, 30 years from now. But maybe your why is making sure that you look and feel your best 10, 20, 30 years from now, right? Like if you
Sure.
don't, like, I don't personally have kids. I don't know if that will change, but like for me, I want to make sure that when I am in my older years, I'm not struggling and I'm not in pain and I'm not, able to not travel and do the things that I want to do. So for me, that's my why right now.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
How many
So
days a week do you work out?
5. So
Oh,
I'm very diligent with my workouts. I have been for a long time. But One thing that I think, I had planned to mention to you was, I struggled with the tracking, right? So there was a point in time where I was actually gaining weight, even though I was doing workouts. But I know your body kind of gets used to certain things, right? So you got to switch it up. But I do feel like, hormones and my gut health kind of impacted the success I was seeing. And so once I kind of made some shifts, like I cut out gluten and dairy,
Hmm.
that has kind of transformed my progress, which is kind of nice. So,
Sure.
would you say things like that can be a shift to a person seeing progress? Like if someone has stalled out, I would love your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so like you said, gut health is super important. A lot of women are like, why am I always bloated?
Hmm.
Probably have very bad gut health.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would go on a little, not a detox, but some type of cleanse,
Hmm.
research it. I'm not a certified nutritionist,
Okay.
I'm the guy you come to lift weights.
Hmm.
Um, but I would do a nice cleanse and really talk to someone who's a professional at that and say, hey, I'm having issues. I'm not losing weight. How can I, heal my gut?
Yeah.
Um, and I have eczema, and it pulled up on me when I was like what 32, 2 years ago,
Hmm.
and I was like, what is this stuff? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm itching. What is this? And I went to the doctor. He's like, your gut is bad, and I was like,
Hmm.
really? He's like, yeah. And I started drinking these green smoothies, green fruits, vegetables, and changed everything.
Yeah.
Uh, but as far as women, a lot of my clients, they come to me and they're like, hey, I've been working out for 2 years. I'm not losing weight. I don't even look like I work out, but I promise you, I work out 5 days a week. And later they find out they have like some type of hormone issue, like
Mhm.
PCOS.
Yeah.
PCOS is a real thing. A lot of women
Yeah.
have it. They know it. Um, but I would suggest if you have PCOS, don't do any type of hit training or a lot of cardio. That
Interesting.
kind that hurts it. And you'll
Okay.
start gaining weight and it goes up and up. Like I
Wow.
said, strength training is your best friend.
No
Not
matter
only for
what your
no
situation.
matter what.
Okay.
No matter what. And you don't have to lift the entire gym.
Right.
You don't have to do that. Just focus. I tell everyone, just focus on getting stronger every single month.
Yeah.
Every single month. It's not about what that scale says. It's about getting stronger. And
Yeah.
if you take care of that, the scale will drop. I promise you. I promise you.
I want to ask you something about the scale, so don't let me forget, but I want to quickly go back to gut health because you mentioned, if a person is bloated or like something seems off, they should see someone. And I 1000% agree. That's what I did when I noticed that like my weight was staying the same or actually getting like I was gaining weight. So I actually went to see a naturopathic doctor, and
Okay.
that's where my gut health journey really began. And it was totally game changing. So if anyone listening to this is constantly bloated or like just things feel off with your stomach or you're, working out and you're not losing weight, go see a naturopathic doctor, go see someone about your gut health because it's game changing.
Facts. I definitely agree with that.
And with you saying, your eczema, gut health has so many different impacts. Like, and it doesn't even have to be, specific to weight. It's just pretty intense if you think about it.
And it shows you like the power of food, how powerful
Yes.
food is. Like
Yeah.
we're thinking, I can eat this, I'll be fine, but it all adds up.
Yeah.
It adds up, and then you realize like, oh, what's going on? Yeah,
Yeah.
food is
Oof.
so important, so important. What you put into your body, it's a real thing.
And going back to the scale, so correct me if I'm wrong, but if you are strength training, you might be burning fat, right? But the scale might not be moving. So is the scale really an accurate indicator of your progress, or do you have a better idea for someone to gauge if they're, progressing?
No, this I always tell people the scale is a liar.
Okay.
Scale is a liar because you could be holding on to a lot of water weight and muscle weighs more than fat.
Okay.
So if you've been training for 4 weeks straight, being consistent, eating right, getting your cardio, lifting weights, and you're like, why am I up in weight? I'm doing everything right. It's very discouraging too. You're like, I'm doing everything right, and
Hmm.
it's still not going down. I quit. You know, don't do that. Your body's just getting adjusted. You're building that muscle, and I promise you, if you don't quit, the scale is going to slowly start coming down.
Okay.
So that's my that's what I would suggest.
Okay. So obviously, strength training, total game changer. Do you have any guidance for women who maybe work out at home, but they have dumbbells? So let's say they have, 10, 20, 30 pound dumbbells. Are there effective workouts they can do at home and still
Oh,
see the results they want to see?
for sure. I mean, that's how I started off.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
a pair of 10-pound dumbbells. They're still in my mom's garage, and I see them all the time. And I'm like, wow, without those dumbbells, I wouldn't be here today.
That's
Uh,
inspiring.
but you definitely can get results being at home, knocking out a quick workout. Now, I know I said if you have PCOS, don't do a HIIT workout, but HIIT workouts are great for you because you get your strength training
Hmm.
and you get your cardio at the same time. And it's quick. You can
Yeah.
do a 10-minute quick workout with your 10-pound dumbbells and be done. You
Okay.
know, but yeah, you can definitely get great results with just a pair of dumbbells, being at home, doing a 20-minute workout while your kid sleeps or before your work or something like that. Yeah,
Okay, so that's very informative, especially again for the budget friendly or budget conscious people listening. It doesn't have to be a whole setup. You can be effective at home, but the point is to start.
exactly. You don't need a lot of money. You don't have to have a $100 gym membership.
Yeah.
Just order you a night. You don't have to have any equipment.
Yeah.
Just use your body. Use what you have right now, which is your body, and just start doing some squats, some jumping jacks, some push-ups, um, your own body weight. That's what I tell
Yeah.
people. Or just go walk, you know?
Yeah.
Have a timer. I would say every minute, okay, I'm gonna walk for a minute, I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna knock out 20 jumping jacks, and then continue walking. And just repeat that. And then you're gonna start doing your squats, your hip thrusts, and then you're gonna start seeing a little progress. And you can be like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm getting in good shape. Let me add some weights.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like it's levels. It's levels. It's
Definitely.
yeah.
I like that. And, for me, like gauging my progress is like gauging how heavy I lift or like how many push-ups I can do. Like there was a point in time where I could do like two, and now it's
Exactly.
significantly higher. So, you can see the progress, if you stay consistent with it, which is really encouraging.
Exactly. And to go back, I'm sorry to answer that question, but how I like to track progress is okay, if a client comes in and she can only squat the bar, 45 pounds,
Hmm.
but we've been training for 4 weeks and now she can squat 100 pounds, she's so excited.
Yeah.
And I'm like, does that scale matter? She's like, I do not care about that scale. I love this feeling. And then
Yeah.
when you get both of, the scale and you're getting stronger, you're in a great place. You're in a
Yeah.
great place. So base it off the gym because every week you want to try to get stronger and stronger and stronger. It's kind of like your business. You want to try to save $20 a week, $20 a week. And then you look back and you're like, wow, I saved $100.
Yes, it's exactly like that. It's like the consistent small amounts, like they really do add up to something.
Daily deposits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so a question that I wonder, when you strength train, especially if you're new to it, your muscles are sore the next day. So first, is there a way to kind of ease that pain? And second, is it okay to work out when your muscles are sore?
It's okay to work out when you're sore.
Okay.
Um, Try not to work out the same muscle group. So if you did
Okay.
legs on Monday, I wouldn't
Mhm.
do legs on Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay, you got to let the muscle recover.
Okay.
Usually people get sore 2 days later. Not it's really not the next day. You'll feel it,
Hmm.
but come 2 days from there, you'll definitely feel it.
Interesting.
But you want to give your body some time to recover. I
Okay.
tell people don't sit down. Recovery is everything. Let's get some good sleep,
Hmm.
okay? Because sleep is super important. Let's foam roll. Let's walk. Walking is very key to recovery. If you're into the sauna and the ice baths, do that. That definitely helps. But stretching is really good. So to answer your question, no, you definitely can work out when you're sore.
Okay. And so stretching, how critical is stretching to a person's just physical activity? And should a person stretch before a workout, after a workout, both? What are your thoughts on that?
Okay. Stretching is very important because you stay away from injury. If your muscles are really tight and you go in the gym and try to lift heavy, boom, we have an injury.
Okay.
Um, how I tell people, you walk into the gym, do 5 minutes of cardio, low intensity cardio, and then you're gonna do a dynamic warm up. Have you ever heard of a dynamic warm up?
I don't think so. Maybe when
Oh,
you explain it, I'll know what it is, but I haven't heard of
got you.
it.
A lot of people who play sports, their coaches probably have them do this, where you'll grab your knee, go knee to chest. It's basically movement while stretching at the same time. So
Okay.
instead of doing like static stretching where you're just reaching down to touch your toes,
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't do that before a workout because your body's not actually warmed up. You're not warming up for those
Interesting.
movements. So
Okay.
if you're doing legs, you should be doing some hip circles, some squats, some lunges, activating your muscles.
Okay.
Then go into your weightlifting.
Okay.
Okay. And then after your workout, then you can do reach down to your toes, stretch it, hold for a minute, do all your static stretching. So that's how I would do it. So 5 minutes cardio, dynamic stretching, work out really hard, and then a nice static stretch.
Okay. That's a good formula.
Yeah,
So, I want to transition a little bit to another topic, and that topic is mindset. So, I mentioned earlier that feeling your mind is just as important as feeling your body. And I really would like to hear your thoughts on mindset, how it impacts a person's health, and how maybe people who struggle with having a mindset of like, let me get up and get going, what can they do to make that shift so that they can actually take action?
for sure. It goes back to what's your why?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? You have to find your why. And everyone's like, I don't have a why. No, everyone has a why. you know
Yeah.
but mindset is everything. Mindset is everything, especially in the gym when you have those last 5 reps and it burns and you're like, I just got five more, and then you actually knock out those five. It translates to your real life.
Yeah.
When times are hard, you're like, you know what, my workout this morning was a lot harder than what I'm going through right now. And that's
Mm.
all about your mindset. That's why I like people working out in the morning. Do something hard in the morning.
Hmm.
That way, anything in life that goes on, you're like, my
Yeah.
workout was harder than the situation. So mindset is very crucial. I can only tell you from personal experience. I run every single morning. I'll run anywhere between 6 to 8 miles. Do I like
Wow.
running? No. Who likes running? But it's just callousing my mind. I can
Yeah.
do hard I can do hard things. And then when you're done, you're like, wow, I did that.
Yeah.
And that's why people are always like, Mike, why are you so happy? Why so much energy? I'm like, I'm good. I just did something super hard this morning. I'm fine. This is
Yeah.
nothing. Let's do it. So yeah, mindset is everything, especially when you're on a weight loss journey. Get your mind right. Don't worry about the perfect meal plan. Don't worry about the perfect workout. Let's get our mind right first. Tell your mind, I'm doing this. Enough is enough. I always say, if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah.
get your mind right and let's go.
I love that, and I really like the correlation between, resiliency, right? Like actually showing yourself you're capable of doing hard things in your workout really does translate into your life because we all go through hard things. But if you know that you're capable of physically getting through a tough workout or, heavy lifting or whatnot, it really does help you feel like you can kind of conquer anything that is thrown your way. Like if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
Exactly. Literally. Yes. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, that's really good. And I feel like you're a testament to that too, especially hearing your story about your injury. And I mean, you could have easily let that just sink you, right? That could have just totally killed your mindset. And, you could have done something totally different, but you didn't, right? You chose to kind of get up and get going and figure it out. even though, your rationale for why back then, you didn't really know what you were doing it for
Yeah,
because of where you are now. But I mean, I think that's anyone listening to this should learn something from that or take something from that. Like you can choose to give in and give up, or you can choose to get going, and who knows where it will lead you.
you never know. You'll look
Yeah.
back, and then hopefully your story inspires someone. Because I hear a lot of people on social media, they're like, "No one's coming to save you.
Ah, it's so true.
No one's coming to save you. It's all
Yeah.
on you. It's your body. You decide if you want to exercise. You decide if you want to eat right. It's all on you. It's something you can actually control.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
one thing you can control. Can I exercise? Can I eat right? Yes. Okay, let's do it. Anything else? It's out of my control. Whatever happens, happens. But I know that I can go on a 10-minute walk. I know that I can meal prep and eat healthy.
That's so true. And you know what? That control really does translate into other areas too, right? Like same with spending. I have the kind of same mentality with my clients, right? Like you can control if you swipe your debit card. You can control if you're scrolling on Amazon, right? So focus
Exactly.
on what you can control and you'll see the results of those actions.
Exactly. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really interesting too, because a lot of the clients I work with, while their focus is getting their finances in order, it really does trickle into other areas of their life. Once their finances are kind of getting in shape, so to speak, they focus on their body and their physical health or their careers or their business, right? So it's
Sure.
like a ripple effect. When you improve one area of your life, other areas benefit from it.
Exactly. So you're healthy and wealthy.
Man.
It goes. It's a great life.
Yeah, I can't stop you. So so I do want to transition this conversation a little bit to diet. I know you're not a nutritionist, right? Like let's make that clear, but I would love to hear any kind of go-to diet tips or meals that you could share with people listening, because I know that is a big struggle for people who are trying to improve their health.
For sure. I would say go-to meals. This goes back to what I like to start people off with: protein, carb, vegetable.
Okay, but
You know,
carb could mean like pasta or bread, right? So are those good carb options?
let me get more detailed. Complex carbs. So you got your what? White jasmine rice, your brown rice, sweet potatoes, things like that.
Okay.
Fast digesting carbs. You don't want to eat carbs that are gonna stick.
Okay.
Now, I will say, if you enjoy pasta, yes, you can have pasta, but don't have a big bowl of pasta. You
It's
know,
very
you,
hard. It's very hard. I'm a pasta girl and I just had
it's
to
tough.
stop altogether.
Well, make sure you eat all your protein before you start eating all the noodles. You
Okay.
know, because if you eat all that protein, you'll probably get a little full, and you're like, I can't eat enough. I can't eat anymore. So that's why I tell
Mm,
people eat that protein first. Let's get that in, and
okay.
then if you're still hungry, okay, let's eat a little bit of carbs.
Okay.
But don't eat all your carbs, and then you have all this chicken left over.
Okay. Okay. So
Exactly.
get your protein in first.
Protein
Uh,
in first,
okay.
but go to I would say protein, carbs, and vegetable. Now, when it comes to vegetables, um, I like to stick to anything green,
Okay.
any green vegetable, whatever Brussels sprouts, asparagus, broccoli, whatever you enjoy.
Okay.
That's what I would select.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So
And
keep
then
it simple.
yeah, keep it simple. Um, and if you need something quick, like those little what are they called? I think I forgot the brand, but they're protein shakes, pre-made protein shakes. Do you drink pre-made protein shakes?
Yeah, I do. So first I had Fairlife, but now that I am
Fairlife.
dairy free, I found another plant-based protein brand that I really like called Koya. So I like that.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Shout out. Yeah, okay. But those those are quick meals right there. But like I said, you must plan your day.
Okay.
Do not your night routine is everything. So if you're a busy mom and you have a busy schedule, okay, I need to plan these snacks because we're gonna go to baseball practice, to gymnastics. Well, I know I'm gonna be starving. Let me bring a protein shake and a nice snack. That way I
Yeah.
don't stop at Chick-fil-A, you
Yeah.
know. and
Yeah.
eat bad. I feel bad. I'm like, oh, why did I do that? Let me start
And I
eating some.
killed my budget.
Yes. Oh my goodness. You know how much Chick-fil-A is, a number one? It's
Yep.
like $10, $12. Come on now. What are we doing? You could have that's like 5 meals you can make,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and it
Okay.
adds up. I know it adds up because not only are you losing money, you're gaining weight.
Right. Lose,
And then you're in a
lose.
bad spot. You lose. You
Yeah.
lose. So yeah, planning is everything. Planning
Okay.
is everything.
So do you, for you personally, do you meal plan or meal prep like on a certain day of the week, or like do you just already know what you're going to eat so it's kind of ingrained in your psyche?
Um, I don't meal prep.
Okay.
I actually cook every night,
Oh, wow.
but my schedule is way different. I only eat once a day.
Whoa.
Yeah, so mine's different. Now, if I did eat 3, 4 times a day, yeah, I would definitely meal prep. But
Okay.
I eat at 6 p.m. every single day.
So you don't eat
Um,
anything until 6 p.m.
I'll have a protein shake in the morning, like after I run,
Okay.
but that's about it. And then I'm so busy because I'm training every single hour on the hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then I focus on my online coaching calls, and then I'm working on my business. So by the time 6 p.m. come, I'm hungry and it's time to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
I like feeling that. I like feeling, lean in the morning,
okay.
super lean. Yeah.
Okay. But didn't you say earlier that not eating enough would slow a person's metabolism? So are you an exception, or do you just eat enough at your 6 p.m. meal time to where like your metabolism's fine?
Well, I'm actually not human, so that's the reason
Well, that'll do it.
why. No, so okay, so it depends. Okay, if I say I want you to eat 2,000 calories, right?
Hmm.
I don't care how you get it in, just make sure you get it in. So if you want to eat 4 times a day, let's divide 2,000 calories into 4 meals.
Right.
Coach Mike is having 2,000 calories in that one meal.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, you ate 2,000. I ate 2,000. I just ate
Okay.
mine different.
Yeah.
Um, Everyone's lifestyle and schedules are different.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be people say that's bad. You shouldn't do that. That's me.
Right.
You
Well,
know
and you're not depriving yourself either, right? You're just eating later, but you're eating enough. So,
exactly. And every Wednesday I fast too.
wow. Okay.
Yeah,
So no
just water.
food, nothing on Wednesdays.
No food, just water and lemon.
How long have
That's
you
it.
been doing that?
About 2 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's more of like a mental thing.
Okay.
I'm big on the mindset thing and doing
Hmm.
hard things. So
Yeah.
it's easy now, but when I first started, I was getting headaches. I was like, I can't do this. How do people
Yeah.
do this? But it keeps you sharp and it resets everything in your body. Because you
Interesting.
don't want your digestive system constantly digesting food all the time. You want to give
Yeah.
it a little reset. And
Hmm.
I have clients who do this. I don't push it on them. I say
Right.
this is what I do,
Hmm.
and they've seen huge progress doing this.
Well, it's interesting, you mentioned you started 2 years ago, and that's when kind of you realized gut health was a thing, right? So that's a good idea for someone who is mentally prepared for it to
Mhm.
work on their gut health.
Yeah, exactly. You always need something to like spark you. Like
Yeah,
when I got the eczema, I was like, what is going on with my body? I'm healthy. I work out. I'm a trainer.
yeah,
And then I went and get professional help, researched it on my own as well. And I was like, okay, fasting helps. Okay, green juice, eating a lot of vegetables. Because I don't like vegetables, to be honest with you. I do not like vegetables. If someone asked me what vegetables you eat, bell pepper. That was like, that's a vegetable?
well, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Is it? Okay, thank you. Give me some credit. Bell peppers and onions. That's what I eat. Um, but yeah, gut health, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was okay. So that wasn't a good question to ask because most of us aren't going to eat once a day, myself included. I I probably could if I really tried, but that's just one thing I don't want to put my mental, willpower towards. But I do
Yeah.
plan my meals and I know what I'm eating and, track and all of that good stuff. And I found for me, I have a specific day a week that I like to cook. It's one of the days I don't have calls. So I'm not a huge fan of cooking. So like giving myself that time makes a
Mhm.
difference. And then, closer to the end of the week, I might order a meal that has like the protein and the vegetables, and then that'll last me for the rest of the week. So that's kind of been my
Okay.
strategy, and it's been good.
Nice. But you also planned it.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
Everything is structured and planned.
Yes, exactly. I know exactly what I'll be eating, and I kind of have a rotation of different, foods that get me what I need to have nutrition wise and make sure they kind of follow that gluten, dairy free requirement for me personally.
Exactly. And also plan, I know we're talking about eating healthy, but plan your cheat meal.
Yeah, I
If
was
you
going to
if you and
ask
your
you about that.
fiance want a date night, hey, where are we going? On Friday nights, we have date night and we
Yeah.
just choose a restaurant or somewhere to eat. So plan your cheat meals as well. Don't have too many cheat meals.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two a week. It's not gonna kill you.
Okay.
Um, but I would definitely plan your cheat meals.
I think that's good advice. I was actually going to ask you about that because there are listeners who have a sweet tooth and, they don't want to get rid of that, which I totally understand. So you're recommending 1 to 2 cheat meals a week, right? So not a day, but a actual week.
Yeah.
That's a good
And
sweet spot.
do it in moderation. Don't go crazy where you're like,
Okay.
oh my God, I've been eating healthy. Now I need all this food. No,
Yeah.
because you're gonna feel like crap afterwards. You'll be like, I just ruined all my progress.
Ugh, and that's the
So
worst feeling.
exactly. And you're like, well, I'll start back Monday. I'll try again. And Monday after Monday after Monday. So plan it out. I've had clients who actually look at the menu and they're like, Coach Mike, what do you think? I'm like, have this,
Yeah.
switch out this, instead of French fries, get a sweet potato,
Okay. Okay.
or a lot of my clients like Mexican food and Texas Roadhouse. That is like the go-to down here. Um,
Texas
I try
Roadhouse.
Texas Roadhouse. Have you been there?
Yeah, I have. Oh yeah.
So you know,
I mean,
you
it's
know
like
the rolls.
oh my gosh. Yeah, stay away from those. Yes.
Exactly. So usually at a Mexican restaurant or Texas Roadhouse, they bring out the chips and the rolls first,
Yeah.
and people usually get full off those two things.
Right.
So I say either don't eat it and have your actual meal, or
Hmm.
have it in moderation. Have one roll and wait for your food to come out,
Okay.
or have a handful of chips and call it a day.
Okay. I mean, I
Yeah,
like your kind of rule or rule of thumb, protein first, right? Like maybe you indulge in your roll, but after you've had your protein, right? So you're not satiated while you're eating these rolls. And once you have one, it's kind of hard to, say no to two.
exactly, exactly.
Um, well, Mike, this has been very informative. I would love if you could talk about your fitness coaching, your online program, and like what you offer, especially if, someone listening is interested, because I know you do virtual, right? So could you kind of walk us through what your program looks like?
Okay. Well, I will say, it was about 4 years ago, we realized that we have women all over the United States in our program.
Wow.
So if you're in California, if you're in New York, we have women everywhere. We offer 4 tiers of online coaching. You can do our 4 week, our 8 week, 12 week, or 16 week. Each program comes with a full workout program, and the tiers, they have different options based off what you need. If you
Okay.
need a nutrition program with it, we have that. If you're like Coach Mike, I just need workouts. I'm good with food. I eat super healthy. I just need workouts. I don't want to guess what to do at the gym. We have that option as well. So
Okay.
we have 4 tiers: a 4, 8, 12, and 16 week program, and
Okay.
that's how we do things.
Okay, and then do you tailor or personalize the workouts for the client, or what does that look like?
Yeah, for sure. So each program is tailored. Our 4 week program is a subscription. So we have a home program and a gym program. You
Okay.
decide which option you want. That one's not really customized. It's general,
Okay.
but if you decide to do our 8, 12, or 16, that's totally customized based
Okay.
off your lifestyle and your goals, which is why we do a lot of coaching calls to get to know you and your lifestyle, everything. We know how many kids you have, we know about your husband, everything. We need to
Okay.
know how many trips you have this summer. We know everything.
Okay, that's great. And are the calls throughout like the 8, 12, or 16, like, or is it maybe a starter call and an end call, or how does that work?
Yeah, so before anyone starts the program, we have a coaching call, and then we do a 7 day onboarding process
Okay.
where basically we get your measurements, your pictures, and then you're also doing little workouts. You're gonna video yourself doing like back squat, deadlifts, bench press. That way we can see your form
Okay.
because I don't want to send you a program and your form's terrible and you text me saying you're hurt. So I
Right.
want to see your form. I'll be like, okay, hey, let's focus on this. Let's
Okay.
focus on that. Push through your heels, sit up more, arch your lower back. And that's how we do it. And then once your 7 day onboarding process is complete, we start your actual program.
Okay. Super
And I have
helpful.
two coaches that work with me. So I have a lot of clients. So I want to give you that attention, which is why I have two coaches that actually help me do this. And
Okay.
we talk weekly. So we have our coaching calls Friday through Sunday. They each client gets to book their time and what day. And we just talk for like 30 minutes. Hey, how's everything going? How are your workouts? And people love that. It's not
Yeah.
just sending over a program and saying, all right, well, let me know how
Yeah.
you do. You know,
Yeah.
we build that relationship, which is why we probably have a lot of people on this program because even though we're not in person,
Mhm.
it feels like we are. Like I've met
Yeah.
so many online clients when I travel, be like, "Hey, I'm in New York. Oh my God, let's meet here." And I'm like, "Hey," and it feels like I've seen them before. We've our first time meeting, so it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Oh, that's fantastic. I feel like with health and with finances, that personalized approach really is necessary, especially for people who are looking to actually get started. That
Mhm.
accountability is really game changing.
It's everything. Accountability is everything. It's everything.
So I will definitely link to, I don't know if there's an application or, a specific website a person would go to sign up for your programs, but I'll definitely link to it in the show notes. And then where can listeners connect with you if they want to just follow you or ask a question or stay up to date? Where can they connect with you?
Awesome, for sure. I only have two platforms, Facebook and Instagram. It's Michael Williams Fitness on both. So if you have a questions about nutrition, I also have a nutrition coach on board, Stacy. If you have questions about workouts, just send us a DM or a message, and we'll get back to you.
Perfect. I will link to those platforms in the show notes as well. This was incredibly insightful. Thank you so much for coming on the show and just sharing your guidance and experience with all of us. I know I am going to take something away from this, and hopefully listeners will too. So thank you so much, Coach Mike.
Thank you so much.